Maddy. Maddy pondered offering to help Emily as she set up her cot. When Hayden strode in, she offered a casual wave. He'd likely arrived last on purpose. She'd never known him to do anything by accident, and he was carrying the six-pack of beer and bottle of whiskey they'd brought from Earth. Suddenly, she had a bad feeling about his intentions. Hope he knows what he's doing. Hayden stared at the partition in the middle of the room and called out, "Can we do something about this?" She joined him and studied the small control panel on the temporary wall. Since she was literate in coalition symbology, she had no trouble with the interface. With a touch, the partition collapsed into a little column. It was impressive how many of the alien designs could reduce in size, becoming more compact to save space where it was limited. Hayden pushed the column to the far wall, then addressed the room. "Somebody thought separating us was a good idea, but I disagree." He faced the whole squad with a deceptively guileless smile. "Human sexuality has more nuance than the Coalition understands, and we're all more sophisticated than the Admiral credits." Dorf and Daroy exchanged looks. From the posture of their fins, they had some doubts. Then Dorf said, "Will you not be overcome with mating urges if you remain in close proximity?" She stifled a laugh at Grimm's expression as he said, "Can't speak for everyone, but you couldn't pay me to sleep with anyone in this room. Have you smelled Hayden's feet?" The sound Daroy made must denote amusement. "Is it disagreeable to you also?" "To hell with all y'all," Hayden said affably. "Back to my original point, anybody think we're better off separated like that?" Emily ventured, "It would be good to communicate freely." Hayden lifted the six-pack. "What say we have a little party to celebrate our first day as a unit? Izzy found some candy for our new friends." He gestured, and Izzy offered what looked like brown cotton candy to each of the finned aliens. "I haven't had this since I was a kid," Daroy said with a laugh. Maddy noticed that all three of them accepted the stuff. The third one hadn't spoken at the orientation. Her first order of business had to be making their acquaintance. That's what a party is all about. Hayden had everyone's attention as he handed each human a beer. "To feel happy, joyful, and among friends like you were a kid again." He stopped when he came to Emily. He handed her a beer, saying, "Sorry I don't have anything else for you. You're welcome to this, but it's poison to most life forms. Hell, it's bad for humans too, but I hear you're immune to most toxins." "Our Zardstones, sir," Emily explained. "They protect us from harmful chemicals." "Any chance for some music?" Izzy asked. Pierce hugged her with one arm. "Good call," Grimm added. "I'd like to hear something from the ship's library, get a feel for how the Coalition grooves." Maddy headed to the interface on the wall and put on some soft music her Eno had liked. Emily said, her Frond's a happy orange. "That's the home calling." Hayden sipped from the bottle and passed it to Grimm. "Excellent choice. We'll be calling this our home for a while, so let's introduce ourselves." At Izzy's suggestion, they arranged the cots in a circle, then set them in the upright position. Daroy already had hers that way, as did the very silent other alien. But from the position of the head fins, only Daroy was truly open to conversation. The other D-alien perceived this as an order from a commanding officer. As for Dorf, he was at the party because he'd come to talk to Daroy, but as an officer he had quarters elsewhere. "Let's go around the group and say our names and one interesting fact about us," Izzy suggested. Grimm groaned. Pierce shot him a look that threatened payback. "Fine, I'll start. I'm Darius Rivers, better known as Grimm, so you can call me that. As for an interesting fact, I climbed Bonanza Peak solo over a long weekend." That tracked with what Maddy knew of Grimm. He was an athlete who thrived in a rugged environment, and each time he pitted himself against nature and won, it verified his skills. But would the aliens think it was strange that a scientist was so outdoorsy, as she framed the thought, Dorf asked. "Are all men of science also accomplished in field work?" "Not all," Hayden said. "Our Grimm is exceptional," Izzy agreed. "Definitely, the Admiral only recruited the best for this task force." Both Daroy and Dorf nodded, seeming to relax at hearing the Admiral praised. She mentally shook her head. They had a lot to learn about humans. The third alien remained silent, so Maddy prodded a bit. "I'm sorry, I still don't know your name." The final member of their squad seemed startled to suddenly receive everyone's attention. Apologies, I should have introduced myself earlier. I am Deader. I'm uncertain if this qualifies as an interesting fact, but I am Epicene. Refer to me with they pronouns. Maddy tended to do that anyway when she wasn't sure. Nice to meet you. Yes, said Deader. Thankfully, Daroy stepped into the awkward silence. Most of you already know me, but I'm Daroy, and I can carry more than anyone in our training class. Even more than Dorf? Pierce asked, clearly instigating. I am an officer. I don't need to be pointlessly strong, Dorf snapped. Everyone already knows who I am. That just leaves your interesting fact, Izzy put in. I bet it will be tough to pick between all the fascinating details. Judging by the angle of his head fin, Dorf understood the compliment and replied without a hint of shame or irony. True. I am incredibly interesting. I won a competition for my poetry once. Don't ask for a sample. Don't. Hayden showed a toothy, evil grin. You don't say, could you share some with us? That led to the worst hour Maddy had known since her NO left and didn't return.